Hey, how's it going, guys? I am Coxie and this is Coxie Tutorials and Gameplay, and today is going to be part 13 of our Unity 5 first person shooter tutorial series. In the last two parts I covered shooting walls or anything in the environment that was tagged as environment, and it will instantiate a bullet hole. And also when we shoot anything that is tagged as an enemy, like this guy, it will instantiate the blood effect that we just made very simply in the particle system. So today what we're going to do is we're going to actually animate this guy. So in the last tutorial I asked you guys to go to the Unity Asset Store and download a free 3D enemy character with animations, and also you can just go online and get them off there if you'd prefer. I'm pretty sure I got this guy offline a very long time ago, so if you search for Tyrant Zombie free 3D model or something like that, you can probably find this guy. I haven't tried for a while, so I'm not sure, but you'll be able to get something. All you really need is an attack animation of some description, an idle animation, a walk animation, and a run animation, and that's basically it. And pretty much all of them have them, and then some also have things like death and like attacking, which is pretty cool as well. So one thing before we start, since we left off last time, I've just tidied up the project a little bit, like assets folder. I've just moved all the stuff into the folders it's supposed to be in, like our blood prefab and the textures and things like that. So make sure you keep this nice and tidy. And also, when I did the instantiate the bullet hole effect tutorial for number 11, I think, I wrote a comment underneath that tutorial letting you guys know that if you wanted to stop the bullet hole from flashing as much, all you had to do was go to your bullet hole prefab and then change the scale on the X to 0.009, and if you made the same bullet prefab as I did, this will help a lot. And I just disabled the box collider too, but if you don't want to disable the box collider, just move the size down to like 0.001. So if you have a look now, I'll just go and shoot this wall to demonstrate. So as you can see now, you still get a little bit of flashing effect, but it's nowhere near as bad, and it's basically just doing that when we actually move, a certain distance away from it. So that's pretty good now. And then ones that are flashing is because there's so many overlapping each other, which I can't really do much about it because we are shooting a minigun and it's shooting a lot of bullets. I can actually make it so that the rate of fire isn't as much, so we can probably do that in a later tutorial, but for now we're just going to leave it. We'll probably also make it so that when we shoot the minigun, the bullets don't all hit the same point that we're actually aiming at. Make it so they sort of spray a little bit random, like a real automatic weapon would. Okay, so anyway, enough of that. Let's get started. This is going to be pretty big tutorial, so it's probably going to be over two parts, but what we're going to do first is we're actually going to, well, first of all I'm going to show you when you import a model into Unity for a start, you will get this screen here and you'll get the model. So I'll just quickly go through some very basic things on these three headings here. First of all is the scale factor. So you can adjust the actual size of your 3D model from here when you move it in your scene, instead of adjusting the size with this tool up here. It's just, I don't know if it's better or not to use this, but I always just use the scale factor here to make him the size I want. That's pretty much all you need to worry about when you've got a model from somewhere like Unity Asset Store or something like that. You worry about some of these other ones maybe if you've made a model in Blender or 3ds Max or something like that yourself. I just leave this how it is. In your rig, this is pretty important depending on what type of model you have. Basically the only two I've ever used is generic and humanoid. I've got this guy set to generic because a humanoid is usually defined as anything that has 2 arms, 2 legs, the basic anatomy of a human, and you would class it as a humanoid. But for this little guy, he's not actually proportioned like an actual human is. He's a little bit weird. So I've used generic, because generic's used for like animals and monsters and things like that. Basically anything that's not a humanoid, basically you'd use generic. So I'm just going to use generic. If you've got an actual proper human, like say you've got something from Make Human or anything like that, you would choose humanoid. But I've got generic for this guy. And then here you've got avatar definition, and that says by default create from this model, and you want to leave that because you actually want an avatar, because you will need the avatar to use Mecanim, and you'll need it for your Animator Controller. Okay, so leave that as well. And then this is just your animations. So in these you can look at every single animation that has come with your model. The names are there, and then you can play it down here and check them out. You can make this bigger, move that across and move that up, and as I said, you can just go through all of his animations. Okay, so another thing that's very important in this screen, which I'm going to let you know now, is just say you've got an idle animation. See how I've loop the time and loop pose? You definitely want to loop the animation, because if you don't loop, say, an idle animation or a walk animation or a run animation, it will only play the animation once and then it will just stop, and you'll be wondering why it doesn't keep running at you. He just starts running and then all of a sudden he stops. Okay, so make sure for animations like that you want to keep looping, you loop the time and loop the pose. Alright, so that'll do for now. That's fine. You don't need to worry about anything else for the moment. I'm just going to quickly close this up a little bit, and then I'm going to right click down in our assets, go to create, and you want to go to Animator Controller, right there, Animator Controller, and I'm going to call mine Tyrant Zombie. And now I'm just going to double click on this and open up Mecanim. So in our Animator Controller, if you push in your mouse scroll wheel, you can move around in here, and left clicking on these moves these around as well. So basically I haven't used Mecanim since Unity 4, and it was a little bit different. It didn't look like this, so it should be fine though. I'm pretty sure we'll manage. And now you have an entry here, and you have an animator state here, and you have an exit. The entry is basically whatever animation we bring in first is going to be the entry animation. The one that it plays as default is probably the easiest way to explain it. And an any state is, just say you have animations set up and you want your player to die, you would have your die animation coming off the any state, because regardless of what animation your enemy is doing at that time, you want them to stop doing that from that state and go straight to death state if they actually die. Exit I don't even know, but I don't really care because that's not going to matter for us today. So what we're going to do now is we're going to open up, well, first of all, before we do this, click on your Tyrant Zombie or your model, grab your Animator Controller and make sure you put it up here in Animator. That's very important, otherwise none of your animations are going to work. Alright, so open up your character or your enemy and find your idle animation. I've got one here, and just drag that straight into Mecanim, and as you'll see, the entry already attaches itself to idle as the default state. So I think probably now, even if we turn on the game, you should be playing the idle animation. Yeah, see, he's turned and looked at us, and he is in idle. He probably stay in idle when he chases, yeah. So he's got a bit of life now. He looks better than a cardboard cutout like he did before. He's actually moving around a bit. His heart, his chest is sort of beating a little bit. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So we've got that set up straight away. That's the easy part. And your animator will be up here now, so you can just click on that to go back into it. And now we want to grab the, not the idle, what am I talking about? I want to look at these walk animations. That's his first walk animation. It's he looks pretty swag actually walking like that. And then we've got walk 2, which is more like a kind of zombie walk. So I will use walk 2 for my walk animation. We're not going to go into using blend trees and things like that. We're just going to keep this as simple as we possibly can, okay? So we'll go into stuff like that in a later tutorial or a completely separate tutorial series. So put your walk animation here. One thing to do, you can do also, if you click on idle, tick foot IK, same as this one, tick foot IK. And from idle, you want to right click on it, go to make transition, and then you'll get this line with the little arrow in the middle. You just want to put that on the walk 2 and then left click so it joins up. You can space these out a little bit more if you want. And now right click on walk and then make transition back to idle. And that should be fine. So now what we need to do is we need to make some kind of parameter, which is up here. By default it's set on layers, and this is our base layer because you can have all different layers of animation, but as I said, we're going to be keeping this as simple as possible. So click on parameters instead, and then when you click this little plus button here, you'll get float, int, bool, and trigger. A float, as most of you guys probably know, is a number with a decimal after it, like 2.3, 4.5, 1.1, stuff like that. An int is just a whole number, like 1, 2, 3, 4, stuff like that. A bool is just a true or false statement. That's what we'll be using for all our animations. And a trigger is like, just say like our door. When you walk into the collider, that is a trigger, and it triggers the UI to come on the screen, which says press E to open the door. Or you could have a trigger to play an animation, or to, you know, have a cutscene play, anything like that. That's basically what a trigger is. So we're just going to select bool for now, and we're going to call this walk with a capital W. Press enter, and then we have our first parameter, which is a bool. True or false statement. So now here in our animations, where idle connects to walk 2, we just want to click on this little arrow here, and as you'll see, we'll get this screen here. I'll make it a little bit bigger, and it'll show you here it'll show you from the idle animation blending into the walk animation. So if you grab this and then slide it across, you'll see that it's idle, and then when it hits this bit here, it starts blending into the walk animation. So I've seen people spend hours messing around with this kind of stuff, but we are definitely not going to do that. All I'm going to do is I'm going to make the blend a little bit wider by making that like that, and then that walk will automatically snap to the start of where it starts blending. If it doesn't, just left click on walk, pull it out, and then let it go, and it will snap back to the start of where it starts blending. So this is just going to basically make the blend between idle and walk a longer blend time. So if you had it really short, it would go idle to run really fast, but this should blend in nicely. So I'm just going to leave it like that. As I'm not an animator by any stretch of the imagination, so I'm not going to pretend that I know how to animate things fantastically. We're just going to do this simple, okay? So leave it like that, that's fine. And now where it says conditions and list as empty, click the plus button, and you'll see that our parameter walk comes up, and it already is marked as true, which we want. You can have true or false because it's only true or false statements, and we'll leave that as true. So then what we want to do is from walk to idle, click on this arrow, and I'm just not even going to bother looking at the animation. I'm just going to make this a little bit wider again, and that's snapped into there perfectly. So this is from our walk animation going back into our idle animation. Just quickly show you. So there you go. And we're going to press the plus button here, and the only condition we've got is walk, our parameter that we made, so that's fine, but change this to false. Okay, so now we can go from idle to walk, and then walk from back to idle. we're just going to do one more before we start doing a little bit of coding. So run. Yes, we've only got one run animation, which is good, nice and easy. So I'll bring run onto here, and we will right click on walk and make a transition to run, and then right click on run and make a transition back to walk. And then up here we're going to make another parameter, which is a bool again, and we're just going to call this one run. Nice and easy. So now what we want to do is from walk to run, click on that. I'll just make that a little bit bigger, and click the plus button here, and it's set to walk, so you want to click here and change it to run. And when we are walking and we want to run, we want that to be true. And then from run to walk, click on that, and we want to get run again, and then we want to make this false, because we don't want running to be true when we want to go from running back to the walking animation. Okay, so that's going to do for the second. I'm just trying to hurry up as much as I can while still explaining as best I can, which probably isn't the best, so sorry to the poor people that are trying to listen to this tutorial. But what we're going to do now is we're going to click on the torrent zombie, and then on your torrent zombie you will have the script enemy AI, and you want to open that up. Okay, so convert your line endings like that, and as you can see, I've added a new variable to the enemy AI, which is follow range. So I've changed the look at distance to 50, we have the chase range set at 30, and we have one called follow range, which is 40. So var follow range equals 40. That's what you need to do, just like that. And then we also want to make a walking speed, because we've got a walk animation now as well, and we've got a follow range, which is going to be when we play the walk animation. So just here we'll do var move speed walk, and we'll equal that to 2, and that should be fine. And now we just need to do one more variable. Whenever you're going to use Mecanim or an Animator Controller, you need, we'll do it as a private var, and we're going to call this variable anim for animator, and it's going to be an animator. And then just under start here, we need to type that variable and let Unity know exactly what it is. Anim equals get, well, not what it is, it knows what it is because we've made a variable, but we want Unity to know what to do with this variable. So get component dot animator open close parentheses semicolon. Okay, so now we have our follow range. We need to make a function for follow range, and we'll just do that down the very bottom. We'll call it function follow player. Okay, and all we've got to do here is basically just grab all this stuff from chase play, because it's all going to be exactly the same except one thing. So copy and paste that, and where it says move speed run, we actually want that to be move speed walk. So save that. And now what we need to do is we need to make an if statement for follow range. So where should we do it? We'll just do it under look at player, and we can basically just copy this for now, paste that there. So if distance is less than or equal to follow range, then we want to call the function follow player. Don't forget to put a semicolon on the end of this. Save that. So now if we are equal to or less than 40 blender units away from the enemy, he is going to start following us at the walk animation once we code that in. And he'll look at us from 50 now, and then when he gets to 30 he'll chase. I'm actually going to change this to 25. I want it to be a bit scary, like he's just walking towards you, he looks at you, then he starts walking towards you, and then he gets closer and closer, and then all of a sudden he just starts running at you. So it's a bit more intense, I think. Hopefully. Okay. So now what we need to do is we need to start putting in some animation code. So what we're going to do, what do we got? Follow range, so we'll need one here. Anim, that's our variable, that's right, anim. So I had to think for a minute then how to do this. It's very similar typing this in C and typing it in Java. There's just some slight differences, so I just had to remember which was which, because I've actually been learning a bit of C# coding, which is what I'll be doing my next tutorial in when I'm a bit more confident with it, but it's actually not that different from writing in Java, to tell you the truth. Set bool, and it was called walk. That was the first parameter we made, was walk, and then we just want to do a comma after that and do the true or false statement, and we want it to be true, because when we are within follow range, if we're less than or equal to 40 blender units away, we want the walk animation to play, and we want him to start following us. And then we'll just do else copy this, paste it in our else statement, and just set it to false. Make sure you put semicolons after these as well, guys. Sorry about that. Definitely got to have semicolon after that to close it off. And then we want to do the one for where he chases us or runs after us, because we made the run animation and the run parameter. So I'll just grab this just to make it easy, copy that, and then less than or equal than chase range, paste that in there and change walk to run, and then copy this one to else, paste that in there and change true to false. Now, as I said, I'm doing this as simple as I possibly can. There's much better ways to code animation than this, but this is simple since we've already got this script and we're using this script. So save this, and now hopefully go back into Unity. When we get 50 away, he should turn and look at us. So this is 50 Blender units here, and then when we get to 40, which is a bit closer, he starts walking. Well, he's playing the walking animation, but we mustn't be close enough yet. He must nearly be there. Is he going to start following us? Yes, and now he's going to start running. Okay, so that's not perfect, but it's okay. He's doing a lot better than what he was before. He's actually moving his legs when he's chasing us now, which is good. Another thing I quickly want to fix is, see this, I told you about this, see how he just keeps pushing into us, and it's really annoying, and he kind of trips out, and he'll go around us and do all kinds of weird stuff, because even when he's like his attack distance away, he'll keep moving forward, which is really annoying. So before the end of this tutorial, we are going to fix this right now. And what we're going to do to fix this is, where's the attack range? Attack range, right here. Okay, so in attack range, when he is less than or equal to attack range, sorry, I just need to get a drink. I don't usually talk so much in my daily life. Okay, so we want to set, well, the easiest way I could think to stop this was to set the move speed and the run speed to 0 when he's the attack range, which is 3 Blender units away from us. So go up here, grab, don't get the variable. Actually, it's not going to let me not take it, so I'll just copy the var with it as well. Come down to attack range, paste that, get rid of the variable bit. We don't want that. Just tab that across. Okay. So I'm going to set not even gonna. Make sure you grab move speed run and move speed walk. Don't do what I just did then for some reason. Okay, so move speed run 0, move speed walk to 0, and then we need to say else paste them to there, and whatever we change these numbers to now is going to be what the move speed run and the move speed walk are permanently, regardless of what we change them to in here. The reason for this is, in our script we're putting this in our function update, and function update calls this code, everything in function update, once per frame in Unity. So it calls this from top to bottom over and over again every single frame. So it doesn't matter what we set it to up here, or what we set the move and run speed to, the walk and run speed, sorry, in here. It's always going to make us walk and run at the speed that we set these to. So I'm going to actually make this 8, and I'm going to make walk 2, okay? So we may as well just go up to the walk and run and just make it private so that we don't get confused and forget that we can't change them anymore in the inspector of the enemy. Okay, so they're both private now, so when we save this and go back into Unity, it should disappear off here. Okay, so there we go. So we can't change the run and walk speed here anymore, but we can always, if we want to change it, just change it here in the else statement for our attack range. So let's test it out and see if this guy will actually stop now. Okay, so turned and looked at us. I just want to check something before I do this. Where is the follow range? Follow player. Yeah, because I've stuffed this up. That's why it's not working. You guys saw that, didn't you? You didn't tell me again. Alright. Come on, help me out, people. Make sure you've got this function in between the curly brackets. I'm having a real bad day again today. Okay, so that should be good now. Go back in there, and he should actually move when he plays the walk animation now. He should move at the speed of 2, let me set it to. So moving towards him, he's going to turn and look at us like a creepy little bastard, and then he should a little bit closer, and look, he's walking and he's actually moving toward, and then he's chasing us. And now he should stop. There you go. Awesome. So now he's actually going to stop in front of us and attack us from there. So in the next tutorial we'll make him do attack animation, and that should pretty much do it for the animations for now, and then we'll worry about doing death animations when he dies and things like that. Okay guys, thanks heaps for watching. Please like the videos, and if you need help, comment on the videos, or just comment on the videos in general. And don't forget about the art for my channel. If you can do anything, you know, to do with channel art and you're good at that kind of stuff, I would really like it if you could send some channel art for me to coxytutorials@yahoo.com. If you don't want to, that's fine as well. And I'll see you all in the next tutorial, which will be number 14. Okay? Thanks for watching again. Cheers.